Alright, hello. This is the honors project reflection video. Basically, I'm just reflecting on the dish that I made from the for the honors project. And so, basically, for this assignment or this project, um, I designed a halal-friendly side dish. And halal is a Middle Eastern religion that follows a very strict code on their diet and what they eat. And so I have a side dish that was assigned to me, and my customer's name is Kiko. And so for Kiko, I had to follow a really strict diet that's not only healthy for him and gives him plenty of nutrients, but also follows the guidelines to his religion and his faith. So the recipe I made for Kiko is a chickpea and kowana tabbouleh. So sorry if I pronounced that wrong. It's basically what it is. It is already a traditional Middle Eastern dish, but I added more stuff to it to add more flavor, more nutrients like proteins and vitamins and stuff like that. But it still follows the halal code that it uses. And so basically, the quinoa and chickpeas boost protein by so many or by so much. It already is balanced nutritionally, but this adds more protein and fiber. That way, for cell production and for the digestive system, it just helps it a lot more. Um, and then it also has a lot of vegetables in it, as parsley, mint, cucumber, tomato, olive oil, and lemon juice. And then I also gave the option of adding sunflower seeds or hemp seeds. Everything is completely halal safe and it doesn't violate any of the guidelines. I also didn't use broth. I switched it with water because broth and alcohol-based vinegars or any of that kind of stuff also could violate their religion. And so, basically, starting with Kiko's needs, the halal diet is a very important part of his faith and lifestyle. And so when I was creating the recipe, I had to make sure there were no questionable ingredients. And so that's why I looked up broth. I was on the fence about that. I wasn't totally sure if that was against it or not. So instead, I just cooked it with water, which it still works. And then, yeah, and so for the nutrition standpoint, not only based on his faith and his culture, the recipe is super balanced for a side dish. Ton of fiber, ton of protein, ton of vegetables, adds the minerals, vitamins, antioxidants, proteins, fibers, all that stuff. So not only does it follow his religion really well and the guidelines for that, but also gives him a very nutritious meal and tasty as well. And so I was thinking for nutrients and stuff that could be improved or balanced differently was the salt. I put a lot of salt in the dish for the recipe, and that has a lot of sodium and stuff like that, which too much can be bad. So I was thinking of reducing the amount of salt added, not completely remove it because it still needs a little bit of taste. So salt doesn't affect his um, religious beliefs and his those guidelines, and it still gives enough taste without being too salty or without being too much sodium. And so what else? And so yeah, just another thing was just increase the vegetables, or maybe add just one more. I don't. It doesn't matter what. Two options that I had was diced bell peppers. Looked those up. Did the research, and those do not, go against the halal guidelines. And even something as little as like spinach, like would boost a lot of vitamins in the body, give a lot of nutrients, and still wouldn't break the halal code that they follow. And so um, those changes honestly wouldn't make a huge difference either, but it will give it um, like more nutrients and more food, I guess, which is also good. And so overall, none of the changes really make a huge impact, but they do give them a little more nutrients, a little more vitamins, and they also follow the code very strictly and do not break any of those codes or any of the laws that they follow. And so overall, it was a good recipe. It was a fun project. I think that answers all the questions. And yeah, no, yeah, are the nutrients can be improved, balanced? How does the recipe? Yeah. So, anyways, the Middle Eastern dish that I prepared, the side dish for Kiko, follows the rules completely. It was a good side dish, both nutritionally and one that follows up to his code. And yeah, it's a good dish, and it was a fun project. So, anyways, that's the reflection video. Yeah. See you later.